Welcome everybody. We're going to make a start. If you can all come along in. I see a few of you quiet at the back there. Come on in, don't be shy. Welcome to our workshop today. My name is Rachel. I'm a vocal feminization coach, and I'm really happy to be here to help to answer any and all questions with regards to vocal feminization today. We're going to be doing the same format as the last session today with a lot of Q&A to try and get through as many questions as we can. A little bit about me. Hello, hi. I've been teaching trans voice for about almost 4 years now, and it's been a massive pleasure and a privilege to be able to do so. You can find more about me over at transvoice.com as well. If you're interested in any consultations or one-on-one sessions, you can find us there. So a little bit about me. My voice was not always here at all. My voice originally was, right the way down here, and it's really different to how it used to be. My voice broke early and it broke really deep, and I thought, oh my God, I'm really scared about voice training. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do with my voice. But even if you have a really low starting point, there's so much that we can do. And so it's been my mission over the last couple of years to help as many people as I can with this stuff here and to start to make sense of all of the info that there is online about this stuff and to be able to make it more digestible for the community as well. So some other things that we do here at the Academy too, we also have classes by Savvy every other Sunday. We alternate, me and Savvy do. And Savvy handles feminization, masculinization, and oh my God, I can never do that word. Androgenization as well. We also have Jess as part of the team, and she does classes on Thursdays and Fridays, but be sure to check the notices out for all of that good stuff. So the format for today, we're going to go through some brief safety stuff first of all, just to make sure that everyone knows what to look out for here. I know I see a lot of familiar faces here today that have heard the stuff before, but it's just so important for anybody who's new here or watching on Twitch and Discord. So we'll go through some safety stuff. We'll then go through some exercises so we can explore some of the vernacular and terms that we'll be looking at with regards to vocal feminization. And then I'm going to have lots of different people to come up on stage to be able to ask a question. We can see if we can sort out any sort of problem or roadblock you might feel you're encountering with voice at the minute, or if you just got a general question, I'm happy to help today to see how we can move your journey with voice along. So with all that being said, a couple of ground rules. I'd like it if we could keep chatter in the stands to a little bit of a minimum, please, just because it gets quite loud when you're in there. But please, if you want to have a conversation, feel free to explore the Academy and then come back whenever you're ready. We'll also be taking questions on Twitch and Discord. So if you have any questions as they come, type them in, and then we'll have different points throughout the session today where we'll be able to review some of those questions as well. So we're going to dive right into the safety stuff today because I'm going to get through as many questions as I can. With regards to safety, nothing that we do with voice should hurt. If you find that you've got any sort of pain when using your voice or after using your voice, it's a big red flag. It's not what we're looking for. No pain, no gain does not apply to voice, vocal feminization at all. If you do find that you have any pain, it's a great idea to stop what you're doing with regards to practice. Give it a rest for the day, come back to it another day. And if you find that pain still persists, it's a good idea to stop practice completely and to consult a voice professional, either myself or your healthcare provider, to be able to see what exactly is going on here. As well as an absence of pain, we should also be looking for relaxation throughout this process here as well. We don't want to force or push or squeeze anything here. So if you're feeling like you have to get really tense and to be able to achieve a certain sound, that's not what we're looking for. Everything should be nice and relaxed as you explore these different settings with your voice. Okay? In fact, we often get one of the best sounds with your voice when your whole system is relaxed. So with tension, we can hold on to tension. We can tighten our muscles in our neck, in our shoulders, in our jaw, in our tongue, all over the place. But try your best to relax throughout this. As well as that, I think mental health plays a big role in this too. If you are having a really rough day with dysphoria, it can be a good idea just to give practice a bit of a break. I don't expect anyone out there to be really pushing through tears with voice. It's not what it's about. And if we do so, we can often associate a lot of negative emotions with the act of voice training. Ideally, we want voice training to be fun, free, and something that we just kind of dabble around with and play around with. So don't worry too much. If you're feeling quite hung up on a certain result, give it a rest and come back to it the next day. Okay. So some other things with safety as well. If you have any unintended change to the way in which your voice feels or how it functions, again, stop what you're doing and let me know or another voice professional know. Some unintended changes that can occur that can be a sign of a vocal injury or something else, can be a change, sudden hoarseness. So if we find that our voice is really hoarse, like we've been to a concert, no good. If you find that your voice is really shaky and weak and under-supported all of a sudden, again, no good. If you find that your voice has a sudden gritty quality to it, if you find that it keeps on cracking all of a sudden, if you find that you can't get as loud or as quiet or as high or as low as you used to be able to, or it just feels like it needs way more effort to use, again, stop what you're doing and let somebody know. Okie doke. These things should not be occurring, and by listening to our body, we're going to be able to try and avoid these things as best as we can. None of my students have had a vocal injury yet, touch wood, and I don't want anyone here to be the first. Okie doke. So outside of that, another thing about safety is that this is definitely a marathon and not a sprint, okay? You may find that people on stage can do things that you can't at the minute. That's totally fine. A lot of these things can take time to be able to build. These skills take time to develop, especially things like pitch. If you find that your pitch is quite limited, it does take some time to be able to access higher pitches and discover those different things that your body can do. With resonance, the same thing applies. If you can't get quite as bright, don't worry, give it time, and then in time you can build that skill. But don't feel like you have to push or squeeze or force anything to get to where someone else is. Everyone's got their own unique journey, and after teaching, loads of people about this stuff, I found that everyone has their own unique series of difficulties with this as well. Even if we have all the understanding in the world, what can be easy for somebody can be really hard for yourself, So do look out for those things. Take your time with it. As well, if you're ill, if you're feeling sick, if you've got a bit of a cough or you're just feeling quite unwell, I'd take the day off practicing. Don't practice when you're feeling ill. Don't push through it. It's not the best. Some other things with vocal health, if you have acid reflux, try and manage your symptoms as best as you can. Postnasal drip, same thing applies. If you're on spironolactone, really make sure that you're staying nice and hydrated as well. The vocal folds are really princesses when it comes to hydration. So we need to make sure that we've got plenty of water in our system. It's good to have like about a pint of water or a half pint of water an hour before practicing, as it does take time for that fluid to reach the vocal folds and affect mucus production and all that lovely gross stuff appropriately. Some other things as well, if you are drinking alcohol, vaping, or smoking, these things can also negatively impact the voice, so try and do so in moderation, if not quit if you can. Alrighty, all of that safety stuff out of the way. I want to just have a quick show of hands. If anyone's got any safety questions, I'm going to start from this side and work my way along. Does anybody over here have any questions with regards to safety? No. We're looking all good. If you're on desktop, please do jump up and down. If you're on VR, just raise your hand if you've got any questions. Nope, cool beans. And do we have any questions on Twitch or Discord? Oh, hi, Lumi Moth. What was your question?
Usually when I'm voice training, I have an issue with like mucus or phlegm in my throat, and I have to clear it a lot. Is there any way that I can try and help deal with that?
Yeah, sure. So for those of you that might not have heard, Lumi Moth was saying that when practicing, she has a bit of an issue with mucus production and phlegm. What can really help with that is diet. We can take a look at diet. Often milk can cause quite a bit of mucus production. You can try investigating with your diet to see if that really helps to get rid of that. Allergies can also play a role, so you can try and treat those symptoms as best as you can. Outside of that, if there is quite a bit of mucus on the throat, a good idea is not to continuously throat clear. It sounds counterintuitive, I know, but every time we clear our throat, we put our vocal folds through kind of a violent motion. If we're in the habit of continuously clearing our vocal folds, they're going to get irritated. And when they get irritated, they produce more mucus. So we start to have a bit of a cycle going on here, where the more mucus we produce, the more we clear our throat, and so on. So it can be good to try and have like a nice hot drink to try and dislodge some of that. It can be nice to try and swallow rather than throat clear, and also to start off some nice, long, sustained low notes. So if you have something like a just hold that for a couple of sets of 10 seconds. That can help to get anything that might be on the vocal folds shaken loose as well. So all those things can help to mitigate that. I hope that helps. Any other safety questions before we move on? Louie, hello, do you have a follow-up? No? Okay, no problem. Okay, no worries. Any other questions about safety there? Please do jump up and down, make it really obvious for me. And nope, I think we're okay. And any questions on our platforms on Discord or Twitch at all? Nope, I think we're okay. Alrighty, awesome. So what we're going to do first of all is talk about some of the common terms, the phrases, what we're looking at with vocal feminization. And we're also going to do a few different hearing tests as well to make sure that everyone knows exactly what we're talking about here. So I'd love to start off by asking, does anybody know one of the big 3 things that we're looking at in voice? If you can raise your hand for me if you're feeling brave with one of the answers. Does anybody know one of the things that we're changing? Hello, Pikachu. What is your answer?
Resonance?
Absolutely. Resonance is a big one. So resonance is all about the size and shape of the space inside of our vocal tract. For us, that's everything inside of this filter that you see on the diagram here. So we have some changes that are happening in the source, 2 of them in fact, but resonance is all about the passive effect of that space up there. Now, a quick show of hands, who feels really confident with their understanding of resonance and their ability to move it around? A couple who are like, I've heard of it, I know a bit of it. Yep, a couple more. And who's like, I've got no idea. This is complete gobbledygook. It's eluded me for ages. Cool, no problem. That is what I hear very, very often with resonance. Often there are a lot of very technical descriptions of what the heck is going on here. And the word itself is, not very intuitive. So resonance is really all about how sound is affected by space. So I've got a cup in front of me here, and if I grab this cup and I talk into the cup, you can hear that the quality of my voice will really change. I've also got a bottle over here, and again, same thing. If I talk into this bottle once more, the sound changes as a result of the space it finds itself within, the container that it vibrates inside of. So some changes in voice are occurring at the sound source level, our vocal folds and our larynx, our voice box, cool. But resonance is all about this space, all up here. So with vocal feminization, what we're really trying to do is undo the effects of a T-based puberty. So in that, this space up here is going to change, and we're undoing that. Oh gosh, that's not meant to happen. Well, we've just found a backdoor into the matrix. Oh, and there we go. Great. So can everyone see this diagram all okay, yeah? Perfect. Great. So we can see this space here, this R1 space, okay? We have different chambers within our vocal tract. This is everything from our voice box down here to our lips. This R1 space, this throat space in a T-based puberty is going to get longer and it's going to get wider. That changes the effect of the sound. It changes how that sound comes across. So the bigger the space, the darker the sound is going to be. The smaller the space, the brighter the sound is going to be. For example, if I make this E sound here, E sounds pretty femme, but if I make this space, this R1 space bigger, let's hear what happens as the pitch stays the same. E, 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 E. Cool, really changed. So again, if I'm talking at this pitch and I begin to make the space bigger, all of a sudden it sounds way more mask. And then as I begin to make it smaller again, you can hear that the gender of the voice really changes a lot. So it's a very powerful tool. And when we learn to make the space nice and small, without squeezing, without pushing, without getting really tight and worked up, we are able to do some tremendous things to the gender of our voice. Okie doke. There is also the R2 space. This is mainly to do with vowels. Like if we go like E-ya, we can feel that space changes and the vowel changes. And we also have the lips. When we get the lips out of the way, ooh, we can also brighten up the voice that way. We also have the nasal cavity up here, but if we put the voice into the nose, it doesn't necessarily change gender that much, so I'm leaving it off of here. But that throat is a really, really big one. So what I'd like to do with this here is to go on ahead and do a little bit of a hearing test with everybody. Actually, let's change it up. I want to get everybody to have a really nice, big, dark resonance. And there's a really easy way that we can do that. When we take a yawn, oh my God, we got that characteristic yawny sound. That yawny sound is actually just a dark resonance. And on the count of 3, I'm going to ask everybody to yawn with me. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and... Oh my God. Right? Great. Oh, great. It does my ego such wonders being on stage and everyone yawning, I swear. No. So, absolutely, that R1 space when we yawn, it gets bigger. Now, what I'd like everyone to do as well is to put their hand gently upon the larynx, okay? Find your voice box, a little laryngeal prominence in front. Adam's apple, Madam's apple, that thing in front, the pointy bit. We've all got one, cis and trans alike. But put your hand there, and then again, I'm going to ask everybody to yawn for me, and I want everyone to tell me if it goes up or down. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and... Oh, everybody will yawn. And what do we think? Was that going up or was it going down? Yep. Down, 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 down. Cool. What happens to the tongue when we do that? And once again, you can try it. What happens to the tongue? Does it move? Does it go anywhere? Raise your hand if you can tell me what's happening to that tongue there as you yawn. Anybody brave? Yes, Cowster, what's happening with the tongue?
It pulls to the back and down as it kind of falls into the...
Right. Absolutely, you're spot on. So the tongue and the larynx are really connected. The tongue is a huge muscle. It has no right being as big as it is, but it's all of this space here is tongue. It's huge. That was very wiggly, but you get the drift. The tongue is massive, and the tongue is connected to our larynx. We can imagine that the larynx down here is like a little hot air balloon basket, and the tongue is like the balloon. When one of them moves, so too does the other one. When we have a deep, dark resonance, the whole thing slides back. Now, when we go the other way, the tongue comes up and forwards, and so too does the larynx, and that space within the R1 gets smaller. So I want to have a little bit of a go with this here with a volunteer who's feeling brave with regards to this. You don't have to be a pro with resonance, but I just want to see if you can yawn, undo a yawn, and then start to explore some other options. Anybody feeling brave to come up on stage? Ooh, we don't have many volunteers today, not quite yet. Anybody feeling brave? At the back, Sophia, hello. If you can come up on stage, if everyone can give Sophia a big old round of applause for being brave, please. Woo! Thank you so much. All right, Sophia. So, first of all, what I want to do is I want to match a tone with you. Monkey doke. Can you hear this note all okay? Can you hear that?
Hang on a second. I know you like to have the noise suppression stuff off. Mic activation threshold down to 0%.
That's it, exactly. That's a good point. Great. If anybody is wanting to volunteer, please do make sure that you're on push to talk, that your noise activation threshold's all the way down and you have any noise filtering turned off. So what I'd like to do with you here, Sophia, is to find this note together. Can you match me with a nice soft sound? Beautiful. Now we're going to take an E sound for this, and I want you to have a nice old E on that note again. E. Try that for me.
E.
Perfect. Now we're going to go from that sound to a big yawny E on the same pitch and back again. Have a listen to this. E. 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 Try that for me.
E.
Yes. Absolutely perfect. Great. Now let's start at that big dark resonance, and we're going to go up in 3 stages. Have a listen to this one. E, E. Can you give that a go?
E.
Well done. That's perfect. I'll give it Sophia a big round of applause, please. Woo! That's exactly what we're looking for. Thanks so much. Awesome work. And if you can take a seat again for me, Sophia, that'd be awesome. Grand. So what we did there was we isolated resonance by itself. A lot of people ask me, where can I start? What are some good things to do? one really huge thing to be able to do to begin with is to separate pitch and resonance. So instead of having with the pitch moving, we want to have the pitch staying nice and still and to be able to change this R1 space all by itself. So for this next little bit here, I'm going to do a little bit of a hearing test with you all. And I want you all to come into the middle for this bit here. And we're going to have you moving around side to side to be able to give us some answers here. And if you don't want to take part, please do just find yourself a side here, either at the left or the right. That'd be great. Okie doke. So we're going to start off with a bit of a hearing test here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to either change pitch or I'm going to change my resonance. And it's going to be up to you to be able to tell me which one I did. Okie doke. If it's pitch, I want to see you all moving over to this side here on my left. And if it's a resonance that I'm changing, this side on the right, please. Okie doke. Great. So here we go. A pitch change would sound like this. We can hear that the note is moving. We can start to make a melody with it. A resonance change, would sound something like that. And again, pitch on this side, resonance over here. I think that's what I said the first time, right? Okay, we're sticking with it. Pitch on this side on my left and then resonance on the right. Here we go with question number 1. Oh, ooh. Do we think that was a resonance changing or pitch? And everyone can move along. Beautiful. You're all spot on. Absolutely. That was resonance. Good job. And back into the middle, please, everyone. We're going to get progressively harder with this stuff. Here's another. What's happening there? Was that pitch or resonance, do we feel? Yes, really, really, really good job. 100%. Good work. And back to the middle, please. Have a listen to this one. Very subtle change. What was happening there? Was it pitch or resonance? Well done, it was indeed pitch. Awesome, there's no getting anything past you today. Great, and then into the middle once more. And we're going to do this one next. What's happening there? That was a bit more of a split, huh? Cool beans. Thank you all for being brave and sticking with your answers. But the answer was, in fact, pitch. Great job for everybody over here. The reason why it might have felt like resonance was because I started in a dark resonance and I stayed in one. It still had that yawny feeling, but the note itself was moving. We're going to do one more before we move on. Have another listen, everyone, back into the middle, and then we'll wrap up this little exercise. What do we think? Pitch or resonance on that one? Great work, everybody. That was indeed resonance. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Great stuff. If you can all take your seats once more, please, that'd be brilliant. So resonance, it's got a lot of technical stuff. People talk about harmonics, overtones, formants, all sorts of anatomy stuff, stylohyoid muscles, all sorts of stuff. But really, it's about changing that space. Follow the sound first, and then we can think about how it's working later on. But remember that change from yawny to neutral, it's just that same movement, but going a little bit brighter, continuing up that gradient. Beautiful. Okay, so I want to go for 1 or 2 more little answers here with regards to any other things we're changing. Does anybody else know another variable that we're changing outside of resonance within the voice, so vocal feminization? Pikachu, I see you there, but you've already answered one. I'm going to go for Azraeli. Hello, what's your answer?
Hi, you already mentioned it, but pitch.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Spot on, 100%. Pitch is a big one. So pitch, how high or low we go, massively, massively, massively impactful onto the gender of the voice, I think. A lot of people will say that pitch is not as important, but I do think that being able to navigate your pitch in a comfortable manner throughout a decent range is really beneficial to the gender of your voice. I find that, in mimicking different cis women's voices to be able to see what they're doing and to be able to attain the same sort of qualities, pitch range is really quite big in cis women. Cis women can go as low as 120 hertz. I've seen some go as low as 100 hertz as well, and as high as 500, 600, well, even 1,000. But for most speech, the average, with a few different studies done, was around about 200 hertz, or around about a G3. If you're confused about pitch, Voice Tools is a great app, and you can generate all of those different pitches there. But this pitch right here is about the average cis woman's pitch. And I want to see if everyone can match this pitch with me. On the count of 3, I want you all to try and match that pitch. And again, have a little go off mic first. Make sure you've got it. Okay, then we're going to count you in. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and... Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Perfect. Not too hard to hit. It's surprisingly low, I think, for a lot of us. But the thing that makes the difference is resonance and one more mysterious variable. Okay. Now, with pitches, if you are having trouble getting to 200 hertz and above, I would say it's really ideal for us to be able to get to around about a B3 or an A3. Well, B3 or C3, sorry, oh my God, I can't get my notes right. B3 or a C4 is great for the upper limits of our voice. It's absolutely fantastic. The floor of our voice can be anywhere from like a C3 to a D3 at around about 130, 140 hertz is a great place to be able to do that. If you are struggling to be able to pitch match, if you aren't able to get those ranges, a really good idea is to take a look at SOVTEs. And you can find a whole lecture about these in the Trans Academy VODs. Okay, really, really, really good exercises for you to be able to get your voice moving in a safe environment where you can explore your range easily. Okie doke. So we have pitch, really, really nice. And then our final thing, does anybody know what the last variable we're looking for is? Any answers there? Anybody got an idea? Yep. Great. And Vivian, hello. What's the last thing we're looking at? Is what? Sorry, I didn't hear you there. Yes, vocal weight. You're absolutely spot on, 100%. Vocal weight is all about the amount of oomph and drive and buzziness within the voice. One thing that I always like to do is to ask everybody to imagine like a really cute animal. It's adorable, super sweet, super soft. On the count of 3, I want you all to give me a really nice, really soft ah. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and ah, super soft. Yes, absolutely. It's soft, it's light, 100%. Great. Okay, now I want you to imagine this cute animal. It's just thrown up all over you. It's grim. There are chunks. It's terrible. I want you all to give me a really nice buzzy ah, please. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and ah, please. Yep. Perfect. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. So that heavy vocal weight is that ah. That soft, light vocal weight is that ah. It's lighter, it's softer, and it's really, really great for vocal feminization for a few different reasons. It sounds more femme in and of itself. Okie doke. Another one is that it makes higher pitches less taxing, less fatiguing on our bodies. If we're going like, hello, all the time, it's going to really wear us out. But if we keep it nice and soft, hello, the voice is much more sustainable. Okie doke. Where this comes around is that in lower notes, when we go down to the bottom of our range, like,
so if I'm going down here, I really need a lot of vocal weight, a lot of heavy vocal weight to get the sound moving. E, A, O, U.
If I try and speak down there with a light vocal weight,
E, A, O, U, it becomes
a lot harder. Okay. Lower pitches necessitate a heavier vocal weight to get that machine of the voice moving to sustain that sound. And so if we've been spending years of our life speaking down there, it's very easy for us to nail our pitch, nail our resonance, but then be left with something that feels quite buzzy and quite like, this sort of thing. A lot of trans girls I know have ended up here, and there's no shame in it, but if you're feeling like this might be you, then that's what we're going to be looking at, is softening that out and finding a new way to be able to produce these notes. It'll help you out with how the gender of the voice and also how easy it is to keep your voice up. So those are our big 3, pitch, resonance, and vocal weight. We put them all together and, well, we end up with something like this. If we start out,
with a default voice, we raise the pitch up to that G3, let's find it. Yep, there it is. Doesn't sound right, so we soften that out.
And then we bring the resonance forwards. We maintain that as we bounce around inside of a new pitch range, and then we're good to go. So that's what it's all about, really. Learning about those things, putting it all together, and then being able to troubleshoot whatever it is that's maybe giving us a little bit of a, oh, don't like that as much in our own voices. So with that all said and done, normally what I do is to have different volunteers up for 10 minutes apiece. But what I really want to do today is to get through as many people's questions as I can. This will be somewhat random. I'm just going to ask you all to put your hands up. There won't be a queuing system, but I'm going to try and get through as many people as I can. But if you can please go ahead and pop your hand up for me, and I'll have you up on stage and we'll talk about whatever it is that you might feel stuck on or that you need clearing up today. Before I take a volunteer, actually, do we have any questions on the Discord or Twitch, just to double check? No?
I don't have any questions right now on Discord.
Cool beans. No worries. If you are watching on Discord and Twitch, do feel free to pop them into the chat and we'll get to you as well. Okie doke. So I'm going to start from over here. Does anybody over on this side of the audience have any questions they'd like to come up and discuss? And Radlad, hello. If you would like to come up on stage, please, that would be great. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'd love to know, what is your question? How can I help?
Yes. So I think you kind of answered it already. It's about resonance, I think.
Mhm.
So essentially, I'm trying to. The majority of the vibrations when I speak is in my throat. It's in my filter, I guess, and I'm trying to bring it out into my face. So I believe this is a resonance thing. What can I do as a good practice exercise to get it there?
Yeah, totally. So with regards to vibrations, one thing I'll say is that it's much better to hunt for the sound and the aesthetic rather than where you feel the vibrations. There's a common misconception that we should be feeling our voice in our face, in our mask, in our teeth, in our nose, and if we don't, our resonance is wrong, you know? The truth of it is, though, is that vibrations are also caused a lot by increases in weight and where your pitch is, too, so it's not always the best. But what I'd like to do is to go on ahead and see how your control of resonance is more broadly. We're going to go to this note up here, that G3 again, and I'd just like to start off by matching that lovely tone. Can you match me there, please? Gorgeous. Now, like we did earlier with this yawning, we're going to take a look at this one together. Let's start off by making an E sound on that note. E. Can you give that a go for me? Beautiful. Now let's go from dark to bright. E, 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 E. Good. Now, I believe that you can get brighter. I think that you haven't hit your limit. There's a huge skill ceiling with this. And really, it's just practice being able to go from dark to bright with our voice, with our whisper as well. Have you heard of any whisper exercises with resonance so far as well, Rad?
Nope.
No, cool. So a really cool thing about resonance is that whatever we put through our filter, it's going to change. That includes our voice, our breath, anything at all, really. For example, if I have these two whispers, which would you feel is more mask, A or B?
Hello, hi.
Hello, hi.
I think A is more masculine.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Even with breath, we can hear this. So we can use the whisper as a kind of blueprint to be able to explore what our resonance is doing without having to worry about pitch. Let's give this a go. We're going to go to that E sound again. And we're going to start off big and dark and yawny, and we're going to try and go upwards in 4 distinct stages. Can you give that a go? Perfect. You nailed it. Absolutely. Let's try it with a word. Let's go for hello. Beautiful. Now, I think that you're going to be able to keep on getting brighter with practicing that. One thing with practicing whispers, and to the audience as well, if you do feel that you're getting irritated within your voice, it's sounding scratchy or hoarse, take a break. We can often dry ourselves out by doing whispering too much. I would say don't do it for any more than like 2-3 minutes at a time. With that as well, keep your whispers quiet. If we have a hello, and we're forcing it out, it's going to dry us out more, and it's going to associate tension and squeezing with this change in resonance. It's a really good work so far. Let's put this into this word back onto that tone. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to stay nice and soft throughout. Try and keep an eye on that vocal weight too. Have a listen to this. Hello. Can you give that a go, please?
Okay. Hello. hello, hello.
Now, I did feel a bit of a change. We didn't start really big and dark. I want to go right back to that yawn and even softer across the board. Let's go again. Hello, 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 hello. Soft, soft, soft throughout.
Hello, 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 hello.
Well done, well done. Now, it feels a little bit unstable and it still feels a little bit tense. We're getting a little bit of extra weight, but when you practice that, you're going to be able to go from dark to bright, no worries. We can also do this continuously with a whisper or with a tone. Try that. We're going to go for that big dark E, and then we're going to move it up very slowly while keeping it nice and soft. Can you give that a go for me? Good work, absolutely. By practicing that, you're going to be able to find ways to get brighter, to have our tongue be more higher and forwards, to be able to have our larynx up more as well, and to be able to get rid of some of these anomalies that come through with that squeezing and pushing. Then it's a case of applying it more broadly to some other different words. So let's give that a little brief go before we move on. Let's go here. So I've got some text on the screen. Can you see that all okay?
Yep.
Great. Okay, let's try this. We're going to go for when the sunlight. We're going to go from dark to bright, and then we're going to try and finish the whole phrase. Have a listen to this.
When the sunlight.
When the sunlight. When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. Give that a go, keeping the pitch nice and straight.
Okay. Oh yeah, it is easier to read from here.
Yep.
The sunlight, when the sunlight, when the sunlight strikes raindrops from the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow.
Good work. Now, when you listen back to this, you'll see this on the VOD in a little while, but you can hear on the other, we dropped it a little bit there. So in practicing this, what you'll need to do is to slow down to make sure that every syllable is as bright as it can be. You can also use kind of a matrix like we have down on the bottom, where we have different combinations of vowels that you can practice. E-A, E-I, E-O, so far, and so on, to be able to get more and more consistent and to familiarize yourself with that. So play around with it, and then I'm sure that with some practice, you're going to be able to get that nice and consistent in your voice. But any follow-up questions with that there, Ad?
Actually, yeah. There was one I had about tongue placement. So for some reason, I can't, like, it's weird. I'm like tone deaf when it comes to the back of my tongue.
Sure,
Is
sure.
there any exercise I can do to improve tongue placement?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that you can do, I've seen a bunch of people's tongues get really tight when they do this, that the tongue will ball up and go into the middle. We want our tongue to be nice, flat, and happy, like a lazy cat, We don't want it to go into a point or to get really tight at all. So we want to make sure that's happening. One thing we can do is to, as you go brighter, try and stick your tongue out, and that can make sure it's getting nice and forwards. You can't see me right now, but we can try getting brighter while sticking the tongue out forwards. You can also try and scratch the bit at the top of the roof of your mouth where the hard palate meets the soft and squishy soft palate, and try and scratch that with the back of your tongue. That movement is very similar to what we'll be doing with resonance generally, but again, relax any sort of tension that you have in there and make sure that it's not balling up, that it's playing ball, and you're able to stick out your tongue on these different vowels, and that can really help to be able to increase your agility with that and awareness too. Awesome. Thank you so much for your questions. We're going to go over to somebody else now. Thanks so much, Rad. If you can take your seat again, please, that'd be brill. Thank you so much. You did great. Alrighty, so let's take another question here. Great job. I'm going to go for someone over this side, please. Oh, Twitch question. Great. Yes, please. What is it? Yeah, I would say similar thing to what Rad was saying earlier. Try and see if you can stick your tongue out as you get to those brighter resonances. When we get really bright, if I naturally just allow my tongue to kind of sit past my lips, it wants to flop out. What I'm doing instead is I'm taking the tip of the tongue and putting it gently behind the bottom row of teeth. What we can also do sometimes, if the tongue is staying really stubborn, it can be because we have this mental conception of these different vowels, these different words as vowels and words, where if we think about them as more abstract mouth noises, we're less likely to have our habit and our language circuits kick in. Like if we've made an E for a certain way for years and years and years, and we conceptualize that E as a letter in the alphabet, the brain goes, make letter E. And it's difficult to have that be mutable or changeable and to change where it wants to sit. So maybe reconceptualize this exercise as an E-ish sound. E, and see what you can go with it, with sticking that tongue out as well. Practice it and it should hopefully get better. But yeah, synergizes really nicely with Rad's question there. Any other questions online, please, as well? Or is that the only one? Nope. Cool beans. Any on Discord, please, as well, Purpose?
There was one. I'll have to find it though.
Okie doke, I'll come back to you. I'm also just going to have a little sip of water real quick. Alrighty, so we're going to go for somebody on the right-hand side. No, well, my right anyway. Does anybody over here have any questions with regards to voice vocal feminization in general? Nope. Okie doke, we'll move on over. Anybody in the middle here? Any questions that would like to come up? And Ashtaria, hello, come up on stage, please. Alrighty, so what's your
Hello.
question, please? How can I help? Hello.
So I feel like I have a naturally more higher voice, so I can get fairly easily into something brighter and breathier, which is quite androgynous, but I feel like I just can't breach that line of definitely feminine. So
Okay.
give me a moment to show you and read something.
Yeah, please, that'd be great.
Sorry, nerves.
No, it's okay. I know there's a lot of nerves. It's all good. Don't worry.
We're family.
When the sunlight strikes rainbows in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. Something like this.
Good. Your pitch is good. I can see what you mean. They act as a prism and form a rainbow. I did feel it might be nerves, but I felt a certain level of tenseness in there. It felt a little bit squeezy. Yeah, it might be nerves though. Let's see how you are. We're trying to get a little bit brighter. We can play around with that and a little bit softer too. The pitch though I felt was great. Let's go for that last little bit. They act as a prism and form a rainbow. We're going to start off dark. We're going to keep everything soft. We're going to go up in stages and see how you sound at the end of it. Have a listen to this and see if you can copy me. They act as a prism and form a rainbow. They act as a prism and form a rainbow. They act as a prism and form a rainbow.
Okay. So
you got this.
They act as a prism and form a rainbow. They act as a prism and form a rainbow. They act as a prism and form a rainbow.
Well done.
Something like this.
I felt, yeah, you're definitely going in the right direction. I felt that we didn't start really fully dark and that you did get brighter. We also got a little bit heavier with that one as well. And this natural association with brighter resonances and heavier vocal weights I see it all the time in my students in one-on-one sessions. Let's try and make our frame of reference smaller. We're going to go for form a rainbow. And I want to start in that big dark space again. We're going to also start to go back to a flat pitch. Can you match me here? Oh, sorry. With a nice soft sound, please, Ashtar. You've got it. Now, can you give me a nice dark form a rainbow? Big and dark and yawny.
Form a rainbow.
Good work. Okay, now let's take it up in 3 degrees. Form a rainbow. Form a rainbow. Form a rainbow.
Okay. Form a rainbow. Form a rainbow. Form a rainbow.
Form. I just feel that similar to what Lad's question was earlier, we're just not getting quite bright enough. I feel as though that you could benefit definitely from practicing some of those resonance exercises and just getting in that brighter resonance feeling, and to be able to stop associating resonance with an increase in weight. Again, I think that part of this is nerves, being on a stage in front of a bunch of people, because it is very scary.
Yeah,
We can
quite.
feel that in the voice. Let's try that with a whisper as a final thing. Can you try and give me one of these? Form a rainbow. Form a rainbow. Form a rainbow.
Form a rainbow. Form a rainbow.
Aha, cool. So one great litmus test that we can do is, if our resonance is bright enough, is trying to gender the whisper that we're having there. I don't quite think that we're there where you could consistently get a she, her yet with the whisper, but it's definitely going in the right direction. We just need to get brighter. You're in the right path, you're doing the right things, you're using the right muscles, but we just need to keep on going with it for a couple of extra stages. There's a super high skill ceiling with resonance. We can get tremendously bright. There's a lot we can do with it, but it does take time. So I'd say keep up with it. Try and focus on some of those whisper exercises, and have your next goal be a really lovely she, her sounding whisper. When you can get that consistently, you can then explore reapplying that within the voice. But if we find that our whisper is still androgynous, our voice is definitely going to be androgynous when we funnel that through. So keep up with your resonance work. A lot's in the right place. You're doing great things, but even brighter is the ticket for me. Thank you so much. Do you have any follow-up questions on the back of that?
That's about it for me. Thank you.
Great work so far, though. Thank you so much. Great. Can everyone give Ashtaria a round of applause, and Lad as well? I didn't realize that we didn't give her a round of applause as well. Thank you so much. If you can retake your seat, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty, so we're going to go for another question here. Oh, we had one on Twitch, didn't we, or Discord? What was that question, please, Purpose?
The question was, I just had it. Here.
Oh, no.
Not a safety-related question, but I find myself struggling with consistency. Like, I feel confident with my voice, but I find myself slipping back down whenever I talk for a while. What can I do to improve that?
Yeah, for sure. So with consistency, there's two different avenues to take a look at. There's the consistency over a longer period of time, or in stressful situations or environments where you don't feel necessarily comfortable. And there's also consistency within kind of a more microscopic lens. When we're looking at a phrase, for example, when we had a voice earlier, like the actor getting a little bit darker than the rest of everything else. When we have our resonance not sitting at a consistent brightness, it makes it sound like it's a behavioral modification rather than some emanation of a small vocal tract, right? It sounds more like it's something that we're doing intentionally than just how our voice sits. So with the first one, getting that consistency in the small scale, eliminate other variables, try and keep your weight and pitch consistent, see if you're able to do that. Then you can begin to identify trends. Maybe it's every time we hit a W that our resonance tanks. A division of white light, a division of white light. It could be that it's a different sort of sound, or it could just be that at the end of a phrase or something like that. There may well be a trend. Identify what maybe that trigger point is, if it's a certain syllable, certain word, or a placement in a sentence, and see if you can hotspot that and sort of build it up. When we see these different inconsistencies on a small scale, they are often also the points at which our voice will fall down on a longer scale. So if every time I hit a W, for instance, my resonance starts to drop, and I'm in a happy environment and it's, making a little bit of a difference, but not so much. If I'm then talking for a while, or if I'm, in an environment where I'm really not comfortable, then maybe that W will be the trigger point for the whole thing coming down. Right? So try and see if you can identify trends and commonalities as you listen back to your voice. This is why recording and listening back, although it can be very dysphoria-inducing, is super useful. By listening to individual slivers, syllables, we can get a more objective idea of, does that sound to me get she, her, or does it sound more androgynous? Where does it lie? And then we can start to write these things down and make practice tailored to what those problems are, that whole set of problems. With regards to keeping the voice longer over, extended periods, reset phrases are a golden ticket to get back to where we want to. So let's say I've been talking for a while, and then, I'm talking, I'm getting tired, I'm forgetting myself, and I'm kind of going down here. By having a little we can reset and bounce off of that into something else. So, for example, when the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light. It's a nice way for us to kind of find our home with voice and get back to the target without having in the middle of a conversation to be like, hold on, you help, so you can kind of sneak it in there without other people realizing that you're resetting. So that's a really good one. Another thing is awareness. It can be that when we're having a really good time, that the voice just starts to drop, but we can start to use other things to begin to bring our awareness back to the voice. Maybe you've got a habit like fiddling with a piece of jewelry. You can start to think every time you do that, what is my voice doing? When we are more mindful and we notice these different things that we are doing and attach maybe the behavior of what's my voice doing right now to it, we're more likely to automatically think that whenever we're doing the thing. So bring your awareness back regularly. Another thing as well is if you are talking online a lot, great. What you can do is just have on one monitor a pitch tracker or a spectrogram and just keep an eye on what that's doing over the course of your conversation. So you can see visually, I'm definitely going down too much, time to reset. The final thing is also paying attention and awareness to the feedback that we get within our bodies. If you start to memorize the feeling of what it's like, the kind of feedback in our bodies of vibrations and overall sensation that we have, you can start to be able to feel, am I still there? Am I starting to miss it? How far am I deviating from that sensation? So it's all really about mindfulness and habit. Don't think that, we've got the voice for a sentence, now we should be able to do it forever. It's just not how it works. We need to reset, keep on going back to it until those periods of needing to reset become less and less frequent. Hopefully that all helps. Thank you so much for the question, though. We're going to take another one from the audience. This time I'd love to see anybody else on this side here. Oh, Rory, hello. Is there another one online? Cool. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. So I want you to try and conceptualize these two issues as separate, although it's one voice. We want to pull these two things apart. One thing that can help you to be able to exercise not speaking with the nose is this SOVTE exercise where we have a bottle of water. I've got a bottle of water in front of me with about half of it filled with water. I've got a regular sized straw, and that straw is submerged about an inch below the surface of the water. As I start to hum through this, those bubbles start. If I have the habit of being nasal, that sound instead is going to leave the nose and the bubbles aren't going to occur. So if you start to move through your range, and you find that the bubbles stop but the voice continues, try and visualize funneling your air through the straw instead. This is a great way to start to get into the habit of having more air going through the mouth. Where the air goes, the sound goes. So we want to make sure that we can do that in an exercise. And then outside of that, when you're talking, visualize how the air is moving. Is it going through the nose? Is it going through the mouth? And trying to keep that breath moving forwards, and that can start to help as well. Again, nasality can be a bit of a tough nut to crack with habit because you might have been speaking this way for a very long time, but definitely doable. So follow where the air goes, try that exercise out, and then every now and again, remember, through the mouth rather than the nose. And again, back to those vibrations, if we start to feel that it's happening up there, bring it back down. That should hopefully help. Awareness, resetting, and having the tools to be able to try that out can be really, really great. Thanks so much for your question, though. Dragon XEX, I saw you moving up and down earlier. Did you have a question? Ooh, maybe. Nope. I think maybe that they went away. Never mind. We're going to take a question from this side. Again, does anybody over here have a question that we'd like to go through? Yep. Rolani, yep. Why don't you get yourself up on stage? Thanks so much. If you'd like to come over to the side for me, great. What's your question, please? How can I help?
Yeah, trying to work with resonance, and I'm going through lots of whisper exercises, but I feel like I need to stress test it and see if anything's changing.
Yeah, for sure. So when you say stress test it, what do you mean, sorry?
I don't know. That's the question.
Okay, cool. Well, why don't we start off with some of that whisper stuff? Show me you moving dark to bright on an E sound, first of all, and we'll go from there.
Okay. My pitch changes.
Cool. Yeah, gotcha. Let's go with just the whisper. Can you try mimicking after me? We're going to go for an... Can you give that a go? One thing, have you got noise suppression enabled currently? I'm not quite hearing all of that at the minute. If you go into your settings for me, just make sure that your noise
It's a
activation
Quest
threshold's all the way
headset.
down.
I don't.
Yeah, should be in your little sound menu.
Yeah, Marika just
So I'm not able to hear that currently, sorry. Should be in a little menu, and it should say something like suppression. We're going to turn that off. Have you got it?
I think it's already disabled. Noise suppression disabled,
Okay.
right?
No problem. That's how it should be. Yeah, let's try it one more time. And again, it should be sounding like this. Give it another go for me.
I'll add more volume.
Yeah, getting a little bit squeezed there, huh? Okay, let's try this on a note. If you can match me on this note here, please, with a nice soft sound, please. You've got it. Good. Now let's go from that big yawny E, keeping it soft. E, E, E. Give that a go, please, when you're ready. Yeah, you're doing the right thing. You're going in the right motion, absolutely. There is, again, a little bit of extra weight you're putting on, a little bit of squeeze as you go up. Keep it nice and soft. Practice those exercises, and you'll be there in no time. The problem really is similar to what we've had up on stage already, which is just practice, 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 and you'll get there. The technique that you're using, the muscles that you're using are correct. We just need to find ways to get even brighter through practice, really is the main missing ingredient.
Just keep swimming. Got it.
Absolutely. I wish I had something more like a silver bullet to be able to help you with that one, but it's just practice, practice, practice. It takes time, and it's one of the more difficult things, I would say, with vocal feminization generally. Keep on working with it. And again, go back to that whisper, right? If you can try and get your whisper, hello, sounding nice and femme, then you're on to a winner with the rest of your voice as well. Perfect. Thank you so much indeed, Rolani. And thank you. Take a seat. Cheers. Great. Alrighty, we've got time for maybe one more question, but it will need to be a brief one just because of an eye on the time. Oh, yeah, I'm forgetting the applause day. Thank you so much. Thank you for keeping me right, everyone. Great. Alrighty, we're going to go for one more question. And Sirius, hello. I saw you jumping up and down for a while. I'm so sorry, America. Sirius, what's your question, please? If you can pop up on stage. Welcome.
Disregarding
welcome.
my minor difficulties with getting onto the stage, is Audacity an appropriate software to use for playback and recording?
Audacity is a great piece of software to use for playback and recording. Anything that you can see the waveform in is spectacular because then you're not wading through just a scroll bar to look for what you want. So Audacity is great.
Perfect. I'm already familiar, so I thought I'd ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was so sweet. Great. America, if you can hop on up, please. We'll take your question as well, then we'll wrap up.
Okay, sorry for being a pain in the butt in the chat.
Oh, you're fine.
But also, does it help if say we've been doing voices like voice acting, voice impressions for a while? Does it help kind of get your mind into the right? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. Making silly voices, mimicry, all that stuff is fantastic secret fem voice training. Can you do me a favor, America? I'm getting a little bit of an echo. Could you mute yourself, please, just while you're not speaking? Thanks so much. So yeah, spot on. You're absolutely right. Sorry, it's just disorienting. So mimicry is great. The better of a mimic that you are, the more awareness that you're going to have within your own voice, and the more that you're going to be able to hear subtle differences and nuances of how you're away from a target voice in terms of pitch, resonance, and weight. So yeah, 100%. It'll also really acquaint you with your body and how you can produce different sounds. So if anyone is out there that's like too dysphoric to start voice training, which I get completely, try out just making some silly voices. Try out moving around, experimenting, singing. All voice usage is really good stuff to be able to start to work with this stuff as well. I'd love to know, America, do you have any follow-up questions on the back of that?
No. Also, one voice, can I just give an example of one voice that I've been doing to kind of get into my range, if it makes sense?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Well, it might be, the Google Maps was like the, hello, you have reached, like that kind of voice.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's three voices, a great way to get into it, and that sounded great. Awesome. If everyone can give America a big round of applause, please. Thank you so much. Keep up with it. You'll get there. Woo! Thanks so much. All right, everyone, we're going to wrap up there, but I want to thank you all so much for spending your Sunday with me, a part of it at least. We're going to be back here in 2 weeks, but outside of that, please do take a look at the notices on the Discord for any sort of other classes we have going on. Again, just on Thursdays and Fridays, Savvy on every other Sunday as well, and I'll be back in 2 weeks to be able to keep on answering all of your questions and working through your voice goals. But keep up with it. You got this, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you so much.